Now that we're done softening up the line with the one guard, we can move on. What's going on, guys? FadeitLuie here, bringing you guys a brand new video. We're gonna be doing a high taper on my boy, so stay tuned. We're gonna be starting off by saturating the hair and combing everything in place, making sure everything's nice and laid down. Now that we're done saturating the hair, we're gonna go ahead and grab our shears and create our first guideline through the top of the capitus and then follow it through the sides. I always like to debulk the top and then fade the sides. It makes it a little bit easier. With cutting with your shears, you always want to use the comb to feed the hair into your fingers and then hold it tight and straight and then cut it with your cutting blade. Also, you always want to keep that same consistent guideline throughout the whole head. Now we're going to bring that same guideline to the sides and begin to debulk. Also, don't be afraid to resaturate the hair, especially when they have a lot of hair or curly hair. The hair likes to dry up. Now that we're done debulking the top, we can move on to the back taper and create our first guideline using our Gold FX. Now that we're done balding out with our Gold FX, we can move on to our foreguard all the way open and debulk the back. I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe is greatly appreciated. Also, if you guys want to support the channel, go ahead and leave a super thanks down below or follow the Instagram. Moving on to our clipper over comb method, we're going to go ahead and debulk at a certain angle, and we're also going to use our horizontal cuts. It's always best to do clipper over comb work when the hair is nice and saturated, since it's easier to pick up with the comb. Now that we're done building our silhouette, we can move on to our no guard all the way open and create our second guideline. You want to make this guideline around an inch thick so you can spread the blend. Now that we're done setting in that guideline, we're going to slightly close the lever midway and all the way close and remove that initial guideline. Now that we're done erasing our initial guideline, we can move on to our one guard all the way open and create our third guideline. We're going to use this same guard and its lever to soften up this line and get ready for the half guard. Now that the line is soft enough with the one guard, we can move on to the half guard and erase the line completely. Make sure to use your corners and its lever to do so. Now that we're done with our lower guards, we can move on to our two guard all the way open and create our fourth guideline. When you reach the top of this guideline, you want to make sure you flick out. Now that we're done using the 2 guard all the way open, we can move on to the 1.5 guard and erase the line completely. Make sure to use your corner and its lever. Sometimes after using your 1.5 guard, there's still a faint line, so switching over to your 1 guard all the way open and using its corners would definitely help. Here we're adding as much detail as possible without taking the taper too high. Moving on to our 3 guard all the way open, we're going to go ahead and begin to debulk and flick out as much as possible, blending into our silhouette. After I'm done blending out my guidelines, I'm going back to the taper and I'm always detailing with my 2 guard all the way open, 1.5 guard all the way open, and my 1 guard all the way open. Heading back to our clipper over comb method, we're going to go ahead and finish off the taper and debulk a little bit. As you guys can see, the taper's coming together and is looking real blurry. Now we're heading to the sides and we're going to continue to debulk and give them that flare shape and that nice taper blowout shape. I'm consistently using my clipper over comb to cut at an angle and making sure that it all blends in nice and neatly. Me debulking the sides here is going to make it easier for me to blend in so it's less overhang. I'm pretty much creating and preparing the silhouette before I start to cut into the taper. Now that we have a consistent base, we can move on to our Gold FX and create our first guideline. We are making a high tempo taper, so we want to make sure we cut near the temple. Now that we're done creating our first guideline, we can move on to our no guard all the way open and create our second guideline. We're then going to slightly close the lever midway and all the way close and attack that initial guideline. Moving on to our clipper over comb method, before we use our 1 guard all the way open, we're going to go ahead and debulk and shape it up a little bit. Now we're moving on to our 1 guard all the way open and we're creating our third guideline. This guideline is going to help us connect with our 1.5 guard and our half guard. Now that we're done softening up the line with the 1 guard, we can move on to our half guard and erase the line completely. Make sure to use your corners and its lever. Also, don't be afraid to stretch the skin with your opposite hand. It is necessary to stretch the skin when fading, especially when you need to spread the blend. Now that we're done with the lower guards, we're moving on to our 2 guard all the way open and we're creating our fourth guideline. We are making sure I'm flicking out as much as possible, and also this is going to prepare us for our 1.5 guard. Before erasing the line completely with my 1.5 guard, I'm going to use my clipper over comb to begin to debulk and also make the fade as smooth as possible into the top. Clipper over comb is the most technical and critical technique with learning how to do these type of haircuts. Without clipper over comb, for the most part, you won't be able to create the shape you want to create. Moving on to the back line, we're going to go ahead and take our gold FX and start off at the bottom, working our way to the top arch. Just like when you're lining up the hairline, you want to make sure you go slow as possible, making sure that the hair feeds into the teeth and trimmer. Moving on to the sideburn, we're going to go ahead and start off with our no guard all the way open, creating our first guideline. We're then going to use our one guard all the way open and our half guard to begin to blend in the sideburn. I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe is greatly appreciated. Also, if you guys want to support the channel, go ahead and leave a super thanks down below or follow the Instagram. Moving on to the bottom of the beard, we're going to go ahead and use our gold effects to make it as crispy as possible. I always ask my clients if they want to take down their mustache, and if they do, I always take it down to a one guard all the way open. I feel like that's a very perfect length where it's enough darkness, but it's short enough that it's not long enough that it bothers them. Now that we're done with the facial hair, we're going to go ahead and pin up the hair and begin to line up his hairline. But before we line him up, we're going to go ahead and debulk with the 1.5 guard all the way open, which is equivalent to a 2 guard closed. Now that we're done debulking the hairline going with the grain, we could go ahead and move on to our gold FX and start off in the middle, working our way to the sides. Again, you want to make sure you go slow enough that the hair feeds into the teeth of the trimmer, because if not, then the hair is going to shift and then you won't line them up properly. Now we're going to go ahead and connect this side to the right side. You want to keep the corners and vertical bars as natural as possible. You want to make sure you don't go too deep in and also cut them too short. Now that we're done lining them up, we can move on to our Turkish razor and Derber premium blades and make them as crispy as possible. Before you use your razor, you always want to make sure you apply some shave gel so that the razor could glide better. Also, you want to keep the razor at a 45-degree angle and stretch the skin as much as possible with your opposite hand. This lowers the likelihood of you cutting someone. What's going on, guys? FadeitLuie here, bringing you guys a brand new video. We're gonna be doing a high taper on my boy, so stay tuned. We started off by saturating the hair and combing everything in place, making sure our canvas is nice and neat. Now that we're done combing everything in place, we can move on to our Gold FX and create our first guideline. Now that we're done budding them out, we can move on to our no guard all the way open and create our second guideline. You always want to make sure this guideline is around 1 inch thick so you can spread the blend. Once you're done setting in that guideline, you want to close the lever midway and all the way close and attack that initial guideline. Now that we're done erasing our initial guideline, we can move on to our 1 guard all the way open and create our third guideline. Remember, we're going to use this same guard and its lever to soften up this line and get ready for the half guard. Don't be afraid to use the comb to feed the hair into the clipper and flick out with your guards. Now that we're done softening up the line with the 1 guard, we can move on to our half guard and erase the line completely. Now that we're done with the lower guards, we can move on to our 2 guard all the way open and create our fourth guideline. We're also going to use our comb to feed the hair into the clipper. Again, we're going to use this same guard and its lever to soften up this line to get ready for the 1.5 guard. Now since the line is soft enough, we can move on to our 1.5 guard and use the lever in its corners to erase the line completely. Sometimes there's still a faint line after using the 1.5 guard, so switching over to your 1 guard all the way open and using its corners will definitely help. Moving on to our 3 guard all the way open, we're going to go ahead and use our comb to feed the hair into the clipper and create our 5th guideline. I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. Also, if you guys want to support the channel, go ahead and leave a super thanks down below or follow the Instagram. Appreciate it. Always remember to use the lever to soften up the line. Right here, I'm moving on to my 1.5 guard, and I'm going to have the lever all the way open, and I'm going to attack that guideline through the middle. Here I'm using my 4 guard all the way open, and I'm also using my comb to feed the hair into the clipper again. Also remember to use that C cup motion and also flick out as much as possible. After using the 2 guards again, we're going to use our 3 guard all the way open and detail as much as possible. Moving on to our clipper over comb method, we're going to use our horizontal cuts to debulk and then our vertical cuts to blend. Remember, you want to make sure you pick up the hair with the comb and then cut it with your cutting blade. Now I'm moving on to my thinning shears, and I'm going to use my comb to pick the hair up and then thin them out through the edges. Now we're at the point in the taper where we have to detail as much as possible with our previous guards. Either the 1.5 guard, the 1 guard, or the half guard itself. Again, we're continuing to use our clipper over comb, and we're going to use our horizontal cuts to debulk. Now that we're done detailing the back taper, we gonna move on to the sides. He got a haircut from another barber, so we're gonna grow out the edges and make sure we do a low but high taper. Now that we're done balding them out, we can move on to our no guard all the way open and create our second guideline. We're making this guidelines about 3/4 of an inch. Remember to slightly close the lever midway and all the way close and attack that initial guideline. Now that we're done erasing our initial guideline, we can move on to our 1 guard all the way open and create our third guideline. As you guys can see, I'm going to try to keep it low and use the corners only. Moving on to our 2 guard all the way open, we're creating our 4th guideline, and we're going to also flick out as much as possible. This is going to get us ready for our 1.5 guard. Moving on to our 1.5 guard, we're going to use the corners to erase the line completely. Also, if there's still a faint line, switching over to our 1 guard all the way open is definitely going to help us. As you guys can see, there's still a faint line after using our 1.5 guard, so we're going to switch over to our 1 guard all the way open and use its corners. Now we're using our 3 guard all the way open, and we're going to flick out as much as possible while using the corners. To be able to debulk and give the haircut proper shape, I'm going to use my clipper over comb at an angle near the sides and use the cutting blade to cut it off. Now I'm detailing as much as possible with my previous lengths. Using our Go FX, we're going to start off at the bottom. We'll work our way to the top arch, and we're going to make sure the neckline is as crispy as possible. Once I get to the arch area, I'm always using the corner of the blade. Now that we're done detailing the taper, we can comb the hair down and work on the front line. We're going to use our Go FX to start off in the middle and work our way to the sides. We're also going to go as slow as possible, making sure that the hair feeds into the teeth of the trimmer. Because if not, then the hair is going to shift and then you won't line them up properly. Now that we're done putting a line in, we can go back to the taper and detail as much as possible. Now we're going to match the right side to the left side, and we're going to go back to the middle and work our way to the side. Now that we're done lining them up, we can move on to our Turkish razor and Durban premium blade to make them as crispy as possible. But before we do that, we're going to apply some shave gel so that the razor could glide better. Now that we're done applying shave gel, we can stretch the skin as much as possible with the opposite hand while keeping the razor at a 45-degree angle. This lowers the likelihood of you cutting someone. We're also going to be doing his eyebrows. I like starting at the top and then working my way to the bottom. I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. Also, if you guys want to support the channel, go ahead and leave a super thanks down below or follow the Instagram. Appreciate it.